She said, I'm too evolved for a traditional relationship, then cheated. I replied, I appreciate your honesty. I then pursued a traditional relationship by asking her father for his blessing to date his other unmarried daughter, who I had always gotten along with. My girlfriend Sandra and I had been together 4 years. We were solid. Great team, inside jokes, effortless rhythm. Then she joined a book club. Sandra didn't even like reading. But this wasn't about books. They read titles like The Monogamy Illusion and Deconstructing Desire. Less book club, more support group for people who wanted to sound interesting at parties. I'm straightforward. I co-own a microbrewery. I like good beer, Premier League football, and having a partner I can trust. For 3 years, Sandra was that person. Then she met new friends at a yoga retreat. Suddenly, our happy life wasn't enough. It was unexamined. Our monogamy was a social construct we hadn't challenged. I got to know her family really well. Her dad, Tom, old school mechanic, runs his own garage. We bonded over classic cars. Then there's her younger sister, Emily, a veterinarian, funny, witty, zero patience for nonsense. We got along like siblings at family gatherings. Over the last year, Sandra's evolution accelerated. Traditional relationships were a cage. She felt constrained by my conventional expectations, like not flirting with waiters or coming home at reasonable hours when out with her profound new friend, Julian. Philosophy degree, trust fund, distressed sweaters. Sandra insisted they were just friends with deep intellectual connection. I thought he was sleazy guy, using big words to get laid. 2 months ago, I found texts on her phone left open. Julian's message, last night was a truly transcendent convergence of energies. I looked. Pages of them discussing their profound connection that had converged into a hotel room. Pseudo-intellectual garbage justifying their affair as evolved. When she got home, I said, I saw the texts with Julian. She didn't look ashamed, deep breath like delivering a TED Talk. My connection with Julian transcends traditional labels. I'm just too evolved for a traditional relationship anymore. I appreciate your honesty, I replied, voice flat. She smiled, relieved. Genuinely thought we'd have a conscious uncoupling, and I'd accept being the stable home base between her energy convergences. Next day, I broke up with her. Told her I wasn't evolved enough and needed her things out in 2 weeks. Epic meltdown. I was rigid, throwing away our love masterclass in gaslighting. Days later, her dad Tom called. Sandra told him I was controlling and jealous. I couldn't let him think that, so I told him the truth about Julian, the texts, everything. Long silence. Mark, you've been a better son to me than some of my own family. You're a good man. Days later, Emily texted. Dad told me what happened. Hope you're okay. We started texting, got coffee. It was easy, normal. We talked about her vet clinic, my brewery, our families. No pretense, no buzzwords. We started hanging out more. I realized I had real feelings. She was everything Sandra pretended to be. Genuinely smart, funny, kind, without announcing it. But this was my ex's sister. If I just asked her out, I'd look like a scumbag. Sandra would use it as proof. Sandra despised anything traditional. That's when it hit me. The only way to do this right was the most old-fashioned, respectful way possible. I called Tom for a beer. After talking about cars, I took a deep breath. Tom, I'm here to ask for something crazy. I told him how my friendship with Emily had grown. I know the timing's terrible, but my feelings are genuine. I'm here to ask your blessing to ask Emily on a date. He stared at me, swirling his beer, then smiled. Sandra's a mess. Emily's the most level-headed person I know. If she sees something in you, who am I to argue? He raised his glass. You have my blessing. I asked Emily to dinner. I told her about my conversation with her father, that I wanted total honesty and respect for her family. She started laughing. You asked my dad for permission? That's the most ridiculously old-fashioned and genuinely sweet thing anyone's ever done. Yes, Mark. We kept it quiet the first month. Eventually, her mom found out when she called Emily, and I answered. Nuclear explosion. Sandra lost her mind. Barrage of texts about how I was a snake, a traitor. I replied to one, sorry, Sandra. I guess I'm just not as evolved as you are. I decided I wanted a traditional relationship after all, and it turns out your family agrees with me. 6 months later, Emily and I are amazing.